In the snowy weather, the cement works closes. They send their engine, Fergus, to work for the Fat Controller. The traction engine pulls the maintenance trains, moving sand and salt to prevent ice, as well as other small duties. Percy and Neil are good friends with Fergus, but the bigger engines don't see his appeal. He's barely an engine, just a tractor on rails, hardly more than Terence. He's way too puffed up too. That's rich coming from you, Gordon. It's the truth. He's always banging on about doing it right. That I cannot disagree with. And ever since the Fat Controller put him in charge of this overhaul, he's been worse than ever. I have to agree with that too. Somebody's going to have to knock him down a peg or two. Yes, but it won't be any of you. The Fat Controller would never approve. The big engines fell silent. They all hoped something would put Fergus right. The overhaul James was referring was a major upgrade to the main line to get ready for the next season. Tracks were to be replaced and bridges strengthened. The Fat Controller had put Fergus in charge of this work. Fergus loved his newfound responsibility and it went right to his smokebox. He became unbearable. Even Percy and Neil were getting annoyed with him. Your Fat Controller sees the true value in my philosophy that I've perfected for years. That's such large words coming from an engine of your stature. I've been grandfathered into using such vocabulary, I'll have you know. You just mean you're old, Thomas chuckled. Fergus went red. I prefer the term experience, thank you very much. Whatever you say, you're a senior citizen. Your flywheel shows it. Ancient technology. Oh, such cheek. Has no idea how to do things right. I've heard about his little slip-up last month. I'm sure us young engines have a lot to learn, don't we? Yes, of course. My flywheel is very useful. I've never had problems with it. Reliable, steady, perfect 19th century technology. With a wheel like that, I'd be worried about it spinning out of place. My flywheel never spins out of place. Yeah, old geezer. And with that, Thomas departed, leaving Fergus in quite a mood. I'll show that blue buffoon. Flywheels are important. Oh, bollocks, I was hoping we could catch a ride with him up the line. We have to go that way anyways. Rubbish, I can do it on my own, said Fergus. He rushed to find his wagons, but soon Fergus set off, not a minute late. Now, Fergus is an old-fashioned engine and doesn't have side rods. Side rods are used to connect the two sets of wheels together and create better traction and reduce wheel slip. Since Fergus doesn't have any, it means he's much more prone to wheel slip. Not only his regular wheels, but his flywheel too. It can slip and grind against the gears holding it in place. He passed through the junction where Thomas had just arrived from the big station. Make sure you don't slip, he called cheekily. Fergus decided to put on a show for him. So, as Fergus attacked the slope leading to the bridge over the old harbor, he throttled up. That's when disaster struck. The sudden surge, coupled with the heavy train and icy conditions, led to him stalling. However, he didn't come to a complete stop. Instead, his flywheel continued to spin and spin while he barely moved. Thomas watched the whole spectacle with much amusement. Finally, Fergus was forced to retreat back down the hill. Oh, I'll never get up it now, he pouted. Having trouble, Fergus? I am surprised, especially after all that talk about your flywheel never being an issue. Oh, I'm sorry, Fergus whispered. What's that? I don't understand mumbling. I'm sorry, Fergus repeated louder. Ah, I see. I thought it wouldn't be a problem for such an experienced engine. Fergus said nothing as Thomas buffered up behind. He pushed the traction engine up the hill and onto the bridge. Fergus was silent for the rest of the day. On his way back to the harbor, he passed through Thomas's junction. The tank engine was waiting to take his last train up the branch line. Fergus stopped at the opposite platform. Thank you for helping me earlier. Oh, don't mention it. Well, maybe you're not as experienced as I think. No, don't talk like that. You are experienced. But even in the experienced get taught new lessons every once in a while. Look at James, 40 years old and still acts like a toddler. I guess I see your point. And we can agree on one thing. What's that? We all learned how to do it right today. With that, Fergus had to agree.